Yo, oh, I don't like this camera setup. Hold on, let's fix this. Let's switch to my other one. There we go. Man, y'all see my skin? My skin look good. That melanin is popping. What's up, everybody? What's up? We about to get started in just a minute. It is a fly in my room and it's driving me crazy, bro. Why would it come out right now? Man. Oh man. What's good? What's good? Who's in here with me? Let me see who in here. I don't got no. Hit me up in the comments. Let me see you in here. Let me know where you from, who you here with. Let's see. It look like a lot of y'all is on IG right now. Man, it's hard for me to stream on IG from StreamYard. I don't know why. It be giving me hell. It look like it's working right now though. I'm on TikTok also. That seemed to be a little delayed. What's going on, everybody? Talk to me. Check in the comments. Let me know where you coming from. So we about to get it in tonight, y'all. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's a lot going on, man. Um, Ultimately tonight, the ultimate theme, what we got to talk about, being a climate justice activist, environmental justice advocate that I am, we got to talk about this issue of the climate crisis and how we about to have a climate supercharged hurricane season and what was being predicted. We're going to talk about that. We definitely got to talk about my book, By Any Dreams Necessary, because I mean, copies is moving, but I don't know if y'all reading because I don't see people starting to adopt the strategies and I'm getting worried. So I need y'all to read the book. Don't just buy it, read it. I care more about y'all reading it than buying it at this point because the information is critical. If you got the book, please hop in the comments, tell people what you think about it. Let me know. Give me we need the feedback because people not believing me, y'all. They think I'm out here playing with this scholarship, but I do this for real. So what's on y'all minds, man? Before I get in, Blaze, what's up? Phil, what's up? Talk to me. What's going on? Throw something in the comments. I see you. I see y'all. What's up, everybody? No comments yet, man. Maybe they coming in slow. All right. Well, let me get started with y'all, man. All right, so everybody, if you're new here, my name is Dr. Bruce Strouble Jr. I'm based in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm originally from Altadena, California. I come on here weekly, but I haven't been on in about a month because I was busy. Y'all. I was out in the field doing a lot of activist stuff, meetings, presentations, talking to the community. If you follow my page on TikTok or on Facebook or IG, then you'll see a lot of the work that I'm doing. But with that said, I did just publish a book, By Any Dreams Necessary, Anti-Racist Strategies for Sustainability, Resilience, and Environmental Justice in African American Communities. The book focuses on the Black community as it is now, and we look at how we got to this point in terms of our organizational capacity. And then I try to set goals, milestones, and lay out a roadmap for how we could achieve significant advancements in terms of our sustainability, meaning our ability to thrive as a community without sacrificing future generations of Black Americans. And I also talk a lot about building resilience in our communities, and that's our ability to take shocks, whether that be a white supremacist terrorist attack, a drought, a flood, so that we can start to prepare ourselves for what is coming in the future as what the past has shown us, so that we could be better off as we start to embrace some of those challenges. A lot of times I feel like it hits us on the chin and we be out because we just have the base level of resilience, but we haven't significantly been intentional about improving our adaptive capacity. And it's not something I hear a lot of our leadership talking about. So it's something I want to interject into the national Black conversation. How do we make our communities more resilient? And then, of course, at the core, everything we do, at the core, everything I do is the principle of environmental justice, as was taught to me by my mentors, Ms. Margaret Gordon out there in the Bay Area, California, Dr. Mildred McLean in Savannah, Georgia, my sister Kim Gaddy up in New Jersey, and all the other my brother Juan Porras in Texas, and just all the other environmental justice activists, my brother Mustafa Ali, just people who put me up on game about how the environment impacts people on a day-to-day basis, and the pollution and the emissions that we allow to happen in Black and brown communities, how it makes us all more vulnerable, weakens us, and how it's intersectional. It impacts us in every capacity, from our education to our health to just our general well-being and political progress on this planet and on this country. And it's a worldwide phenomenon. It's happening in Nigeria. It's happening in the Congo. When you think about diamond mines and blood diamonds, that's an environmental justice catastrophe. When you look at people mining for cobalt, this is environmental justice issues. And sometimes we don't connect all these issues. Colonialism is the creation of environmental racism. If you get a chance to read Guns, Germs, and Steel, if you look at any of the research surrounding how colonialism impacted the planet, you see that over time, Europeans started off almost terraforming the planet for their own capitalist desires, leaving a wake of oppressed people and degraded ecosystems that those oppressed people were forced to live in and contend with the consequences. So that's what we up against, y'all. And that's what I talk about consistently. I try to show how all problems are related to the environment because humans are a part of the environment. We are the environment. We are one with it. And the sooner we realize that, I think the better we'll be as a species. It makes me think of this author named this philosopher and mathematician named Fritjof Capra. And one book he wrote was called The Web of Life. And while that really impressed me was because the way bro broke it down was just like we all live with these illusions of separation, thinking that things are different and that things are not connected, and that's the illusion, right? That's what our human mind allows us to see, so that we can feel like we're individuals and we promote ourselves. But ultimately, when you look at the science of it, we're all connected, even by the space in between us, because that space isn't empty. It's just our eyes only see on certain spectrums, so we can't see everything. So because of that limit in our perception blinds us to the connections between us. So yeah, when I read that, it kind of just set me on this path. Like everything is connected, everything that we do, uh, was it the law of thermodynamics? You look at just the different laws of physics. I mean, it's there in the science. It shows the connections. So it's just stuff that I want people to start talking about. I want to see people thinking about, and I want y'all to check out the book because it's written in that context. So it looks like we're getting some traction on. Oh, thank you. Yeah, talk about it. Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Thank you. I appreciate you. Hey, who calling me Unc, bro? I'm not that. Oh yeah, I don't know. How y'all feel about the uncleification of black men? Hey, bro. Just brother is a appropriate. Credo Mutwa. Okay, I feel that. Yeah, I gotta check. I'm not familiar with that one, but I know who that is, so I definitely will be checking that out. Yeah, I'm always open to reading suggestions, y'all. That's one of the best things you can offer me is a good book. Okay, you 25 and you an uncle. I feel you. I am actually an uncle, so shout out to my nephew, Little D. I hope your pops is watching. Oh, we got 13,000 watching on that's what I'm talking about. TikTok, let's go. Okay. Everybody's here. Okay, so people are finally signing on. Hit me up in the comments, y'all. And if you do not have your copy, make sure you go to where you purchase books from and get By Any Dreams Necessary by Dr. Bruce Strouble Jr. I promise you it's not a boring read. It's a fierce attack on the challenges that are impacting Black communities in America right now in 2025. The political situation that we face, I try to lay it out and make it plain. And I'm coming not just with the solutions, not just with the problems, but I'm offering solutions. And what I want is if you don't agree with my solution, give me better ones, and you'll see that in the next volume of the book. But it's got to be research. It's got to be research based. I don't like people just pulling stuff out the hat and saying, let's just do this. Like, man, we don't got time to make a bunch of mistakes. So the stuff I'm trying to share with people is stuff that I've seen communities doing across the country. I've seen people in other countries doing it, and it's working for them. So I'm like, maybe this will work for us if we adapt it to our community situation. So again, By Any Dreams Necessary by Dr. Bruce Strouble Jr. on every book platform. You could get it in my TikTok shop. You could get it on where you get your books from. Because I know if I say these on TikTok, they get mad. But there is a platform called Amazon. I don't necessarily recommend it. There's other platforms like Goodreads. It's available on Apple Books, on Spotify, the audio book. It's there, man. Check it out. I definitely want to hear what people think about it. So, and yeah, also like and follow, and let's find ways to work together, build community and network. But now let me get into the agenda for tonight. Let me pull up my notes. All right. So, in By Any Dreams Necessary, I fuse scholarship with frontline organizing. And the whole book is built around SMART goals, strategic frameworks, and pillars designed to move Black communities from oppression to resilience. It's one thing to recognize that we are oppressed and that there is racism, but that's not enough. We can't stop our research there. It has to be, how do we challenge it? How do we fix it? How do we go from being burdened by the systems to building systems that reflect our interests? And we need sovereignty over our communities. We need sustainability, and we need to stay in that spirit of active resistance. I was reading Derek Bell's Faces at the Bottom of the Well again recently, and he opens that book up so cold, y'all. And what Bro talks about, and Derek Bell is one of the founders of what we call today critical race theory. And what he offers is a chilling racial realism, as he liked to call it, right? That he says that Black Americans may never see true equity or equality in the current system of the United States. And with that knowledge, he suggests that it is still our responsibility to struggle against it, knowing that we might not see the benefits. Now, he calls it the permanence of racism. He says that that's just how things are going to be forever. I am not as fatalistic. I believe that if we outlast and we are strategic and we continue to plan, that one day the system will buckle and that people will be able to overcome it. So I don't share his same pessimism, even though I do understand that philosophy, that for us today, it is our responsibility to combat and confront and always be in conflict with the system as it is, in hopes that one day things will improve. And that it's just our responsibility to do so as members of this group of oppressed people who only get to exist and benefit today because of people who came before us, who fought that fight, not knowing if they would ever actually see the benefits. So you pay that debt forward. It's not really just theory to me, right? It's my response to when I wrote the book. It was because like when I would talk with my friends and we would be brainstorming, that shit would start to feel overwhelming at times. It's just like, man, if you start to just lay out all the problems that people are facing, and it's like, man, we got climate change. We're unorganized. Our communities are in conflict with one another. We're on the road to zero wealth. By 2085, they say that our collective wealth will be at zero in the Black community. We have problems with Black relationships. We have problems with Black businesses. Our HBCUs are underfunded. So we don't have the best relationship with our people on the continent. There's all this division between us. It seemed like every time we look up, the people we look to as leaders were embarrassing themselves or getting exposed for being in scams and just shown to be taking advantage of us. So I say that to say you start laying out all those challenges, and if you only focus on that, it can have a very deleterious impact on your spirit. So that's why I always found it important to also try to say, well, if this is the problem, what have people who've been in this situation throughout history done to get out of it? So that is where the book is, using frameworks like social capital theory, the polarities of democracy framework, and critical race theory to kind of articulate solutions to the problems we face. So tonight, we take a look at some of the pages. We'll interrogate them, not in a way to escape pain, but to transform it. We are going to unpack strategic moves that connect our cultural memory, our organizing muscle, and our climate justice mission, our fight for climate justice. We have to look at that as well. So your voice, your action tonight. What are you doing in your community? That's what I hear. What are y'all trying to do? What are y'all thinking about doing? What's a win that your community can have in the next couple of months? We got elections coming up in 2026. What are y'all planning to do around that? Do y'all think electoral politics is dead completely? What's happening at the local level in your community? Hit me in the comments. Let me know what y'all got going. I want to talk about it. Right. So July 2025 was the third hottest year or the third hottest month on Earth's record, meaning that in the history of recorded climate, in the history of recorded temperatures, the average temperature in July of 2025 was the third hottest ever recorded. And for the 12-month span, August 2024 to July 2025, global temperatures were 1.53 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial norms. And that's over the Paris Accords line, all right, where all the scientists and all the climate activists and climate experts get together and they say, based off our models, they use AI models, they use computer models, every projection that we have, what the experts say, if we go above this 1.5, it starts to have by right now, we start to see the impacts, but by 2045, we're expected to see like really cataclysmic challenges. And it's not necessarily like, oh, one foul swoop, everything ends. It's more so just like the chaining or the cascading effect of the changes starts to become so much that our current systems are no longer able to function. Our food system, how we grow, transport food, things of that nature, it's just no longer functional. Where we live, it just wouldn't, the way we live, the way we trade, the way we communicate, those systems are not adept for survival in that kind of climate. And we are now just about 15 years out from that. And that doesn't mean we wait to 2045 to see it. You'll see it worsening over time if the climate scientists are correct. Right now, they were saying this they've been saying this for the past century. When you look at the history of climate science and climatology in this country, and yeah, I mean, I think they've been pretty accurate. We see worsening hurricanes each season, right? That's just one example. In fact, NOAA says Atlantic hurricane season is going to be above average, and we should expect 13 to 19 named storms with about 6 to 10 hurricanes, I think I read, and 3 to 5 major hurricanes, which are going to be category 4 and 5s, are to be expected this season. And this is all while the president that y'all elected or chose not to vote in the election is cutting funding to the agencies that help us predict and monitor extreme weather. So y'all do with that as you want. But this to me says it's time for all communities, but vulnerable communities specifically, to start getting organized, right? You cannot wait for the storm to roll through to figure out what your family's going to do, what you and your neighbors are going to do. We have neighborhood watches. If in a lot of communities, people like to get together and talk about what they would do if criminals came. Well, crime is going to continue to happen. But what are you going to do if a hurricane burrows through and there's trees everywhere, power's out, there's no food and no water in your community for a week or 2 weeks, right? Because as y'all know, FEMA may not be able to respond with the same vigor that they once did. So what do you do about that in that situation? Let me see what y'all saying in the comments. Talk to me. What are y'all doing in that situation, y'all? What's going on in your community? Who knows who their neighbors are? Who talks to their neighbors? Who got your grandma? Who got your little sister? Who gonna help your mama get out the house if she need to? If you're not there, do y'all know each other phone numbers? Y'all got each other names? People care about their pets. What's gonna happen with your pets? Where you gonna get dog food from? Who can you trade with? Who got a generator? These are the kind of things we call it asset mapping. What can you bring to the table in this situation where the community is devastated? And to think that these things aren't going to happen, I mean, especially if you live in a coastal area, if you live in an area that's been hit by a hurricane before, and anybody in the southeast or on the eastern seaboard, and we see what's happening in our west, y'all getting windstorms too. What are you gonna do about it? I see my sis Mel. What's up, Mel? She says, I need to be better about neighbors. I met 2 of my neighbors so far, but haven't interacted with them besides help. Okay. Thank you for being honest about that. Right. I think that's something we have to take serious. I think everybody should make it their mission to have a discussion about with family members and neighbors about what you would do and what you would like to see happen in the event of an extreme weather event. I know where I'm from in Altadena, California, those windstorms brought that fire. And I saw I wasn't home. I had just left to come back to Florida the day before, but I saw videos the homies on their roof, on each other's roofs with water hoses trying to fight off a fire because the fire department couldn't get there to protect their property. And some, they lost most of their properties, but it was still, like I cried watching people try to defend each other's property and losing houses that had been in their families for multiple generations. But people still worked together the best they could. People had to evacuate in a moment's notice. They was being woken up at 4 or 5 a.m. saying you have to get out now or you won't get another chance. And some people didn't make it. You know what I mean? So with that said, better preparation gives us a better chance at survival. So I just want people to be thinking about that. Asset mapping is always important. How do who has what? Who has a bus? Who could get us out of here? Who has access to water? Who is willing to trade food? And it doesn't mean that you just put yourself at risk. Go away, bro. What you doing? You can't sit right there. It doesn't mean sorry, the dog is tripping. You don't put yourself at risk, but you build your network of people who you trust. And if you don't got nobody you trust in your community, nobody you trust in your family, then that's a good time to consider trying to find people that you do. This isn't for everybody. It's just for people who looking to survive and build community. So I understand some of y'all, you traumatized and you don't believe in trusting anybody. All right, my boy Anthony says we need boots on the ground. I agree with you, but I think that level of organization takes a little bit longer, my boy. But it's absolutely necessary. We definitely need organizations, right? Like that are funded by the community. And generally we would do this through taxes, but people whose job is uh, emergency response organizing. And some communities have this already, but what we've seen historically, we think about Katrina, we look at other areas, they have not prioritized the most vulnerable communities first. They normally are driven by capitalist motives, and they're going to prioritize property that has the most value to them first over human lives in many cases. So that's what gets the best treatment in these situations. So that's why it's important that we, have our own organizations that respond to our needs. And that's a long-term strategy. But then because those organizations already exist and our tax dollars are funding them, we need to be finding out who those people are and holding them accountable. You dig me? So I feel you, bro. We definitely need boots on the ground. I saw what happened in Kerr, Texas, and it's like, man, you need people ready to respond. And if we could start finding ways to fund them, that would be even better. But I know we're a long way off from that. But that's where we got to start looking towards, because it looks like your boy in the White House is cutting everything. He only cares about mass deportation, and he thinks that's going by deporting all the immigrants, that's going to protect us from hurricanes. I don't know how that makes sense. And I guess on the Republican side of things, they don't think that weather is a problem for the country. But I think it's more of a threat than Iran is. Clearly, it's more of a threat than Russia is, but it's more of a threat than North Korea. But everybody don't see it the same, and we somehow let certain people get in the White House. So we can't go back for now. We could work on changing that in 2026, I suppose. So what else is on your minds? Let's see what else is on my agenda. So across the country, heat injustice is cutting deep. People of color, Black people, Latinos, Asian Pacific Islanders, Indigenous Americans are breathing more particulate matter, regardless of their income or region, because that's how policies have been written. And I got a piece I'm working on, and we'll be talking about this a lot more through September, especially during Climate Week. We'll be talking about the National Environmental Policy Act and how rolling that back is going to put a lot more Black lives at risk. Where I'm at in Florida, July storms drenched the Gulf Coast, airports were grounding flights, Tampa Bay residents lost power, and resilience across the Southeast is being tested constantly. And I think the last statistic I read, the vast majority, over 66 or 60% of resilience funding does not go to communities of color, even though they're the most vulnerable and have received the least amount of funding over time. And we still don't focus on those areas first, because capitalism says protect your most valuable property first, not your most vulnerable people. And that's something that we're gonna have to fix. And when y'all go out and vote and y'all get in these booths and be doing your local elections, don't vote for the most handsome person. Don't vote for the most popular person. Don't even vote for the Black person. And I hate to say that, but I'm sorry. Just because the person is Black doesn't mean they understand local government or that they give a fuck about the community. Right? And I need y'all to recognize that. I need you to not just vote for people who look like you. I need you to vote for people who think like you also, right? Who think about the community in the same way you do, who have the same vision for the community that you have. And that person might be Hispanic, that person might be Indian, that person might be Jewish, they might be Black, right? But we can't afford to just vote solely based on identity. Now, I believe in equity, I believe in equitable representation, and I want all people to be represented in the government. So I definitely want to see Black people there, but there has to be a degree of, do we have alignment? Do you believe in democracy, right? Because I saw what happened in Atlanta with y'all city council up there, bruh. And man, when they did that ridiculous, what's the complex called? The police complex they built, Cop City. You know, they went to their city council and the whole city of Atlanta was in there like, we don't want this. We don't want y'all to spend these millions of dollars on this when we got a poverty issue. We got infrastructure issues. Why would y'all cut down all these trees? Like, I saw the testimony, hours, maybe 16 hours at least, that I witnessed of testimony from Atlanta citizens, thousands of people signing petitions, and that whole Black city council all voted for that shit. And that's where I was like, look, this is a perfect example of, and one of them was the son of the civil rights leader, the popular civil rights leader from Atlanta. And he still voted for that shit, even though all the people said they didn't want it. And I think my bro, Reverend Yearwood from the Hip Hop Caucus, they vowed to fight Cop City to the end. But I mean, it's already signed in law. It's already built. So, or it's already under construction. And there's Cop Cities going up, and Alligator Alcatraz is going up all over the South. They're building these huge complexes to deport immigrants, to put more police in place. And remember, that happened under Biden's watch. So, and Alligator Alcatraz is happening here under DeSantis. So all this, I say that to say, all this stuff is continually happening. And we keep voting the same. Like, we just get out and vote for who the pastor telling y'all to vote for. And y'all have to start questioning these people. If people tell y'all to vote for somebody and they don't turn out, then you and that person are both at fault. So one thing I'm trying to advance here in Tallahassee, and my sister Melanie is on the squad with me. I don't know if my girl Serenity is on here, and my brother Mutaki Akbar and Nicole and several other people I work with, is we're trying to organize the community to be more engaged and involved in the local electoral process. We want to go out, and if you're running for office, you got to come see us before you get votes. Right? You got to come see us. You got to come talk to us. Where do you stand on these issues? This is what we want for our communities. How do you feel about this? How would you vote on this? And just because we know you, just because you Black, just because you rich, just because you from the community, none of that is enough anymore. We need to know this is what Malcolm X called political maturity. Sorry, we have to handle this like grown-ups. This is business. This is political business at this point. We could be friends another time, but right now, my community is vulnerable. My people are unhoused. We got homelessness rising, and we got people voting to put homeless people in prison or kick them out the community or build those benches so that they can't sleep on them in the park. I'm sorry, I digress. But I say all that to say political maturity, getting organized. The climate is changing, the environment is becoming a problem, and we need people who think like us in office to make the decisions that benefit us and not just the select few of people who can line their pockets with money. So integrity is everything when it comes to politics at this point. Who's running for office in your local community? Who you voted for? Let me know. Who you think it's coming up? I know elections is coming up around the country soon. What y'all got on y'all local ballots? What's going on? Man, y'all so quiet. Okay, we got a question from what's one local issue that people should be talking about more in Tallahassee, Florida? Hey, okay. So for those of y'all who don't know, I am based in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm at Florida A&M University, the world famous historically Black college university here in Tallahassee. I believe the number one HBCU in the world. Maybe you would go like if you talked about just Black schools across history, you would probably say the University of San Corre at its prime, and then FAMU. Okay, I'm joking. But anyways, great question, Max. What is one local issue that people should be talking about more in Tallahassee? Local issue. Let's see. The easy one for me to go to is affordable housing and making sure that affordable housing is actually affordable. But that's too easy because that's what I always talk about. So let's talk about, let's see, what's something on our platform? I don't want to go to my usual go-tos. I'm trying to be creative here. In the absence of police review boards, what in a state like Florida where we have consistent preemption, what are the potential measures available to us? We'll come to that too, Mel. What are the potential measures available to us to have police accountability? I know one idea we had before, Max, we discussed was making the council have the powers, or I guess you would say the authority of police oversight directly, or making the police chief, making sure your police chief is an elected position, or taking the police. I'm sorry, not making them elected, but like for example, in Tallahassee, our council hires the city manager, and then the city manager gets to staff the city. So we thought about taking the chief of police from under the purview of the city manager, who's not an elected official, who kind of protected, and making that and raising that person up so that they're directly responsive to the city commission. And that was a local measure I thought would be very powerful in the fact that now our city commission becomes our police oversight committee. And then if something goes wrong on your police station, now we got people we hold directly accountable. Y'all hired this motherfucker. So now y'all got to answer, right? And if they don't, that's who we hold accountable during the elections. But what happens is as he's embedded, it's like city commission, and then it's city manager, and then it's the chief of police. So everyone, it's like they could always defer back to the manager, and then we got to have like that multiple layers. So that's just one idea I have, Max, is something that people could be talking about more in Tallahassee. I think also local budgets are an issue. Do we have equitable sidewalks, equitable tree canopy across our community? Those are things that we want to look at. And equitable storm prep. And I think in Tallahassee, we do better than some communities, but there's always room for improvement. So, good question, my friend. What else is on your minds, good people? Talk to me. What about in y'all communities? All right, peace, Aunt. Thanks for coming through. Somebody says, my school was across the street from oil tankers in Alabama. Damn. Yeah. That's how it is out there and around Cancer Alley, all through Louisiana, Alabama to Texas. You just got this entire stream of facilities that are just polluting facilities, and they have people living in close proximity to them. It's disturbing. Let's see what's on IG. IG look dry, y'all. I don't know. I'm gonna stop broadcasting on here. You're gonna have to come to YouTube to check me out, or our Facebook, or okay. If another great question. If you could get rid of one law in Florida, what would it be? All right, talk to me, y'all, because this is this is a tough one. But right away, I want to get rid of Florida's preemption policies because I think it pretty much kills home rule. It kills the ability of local government to actually be responsive to its own specific localized needs. So, for example, in Florida, because previous governors going all the way back to Jeb Bush and Rick Scott, they put in all these preemption policies, y'all. That means that local governments are preempted from creating certain types of policies. So, for example, if we wanted to put a tax on plastic bags in Tallahassee, Florida, we are not allowed to do so because the government says local governments cannot pass laws to put taxes on plastic bags. So say we have a huge issue with plastic pollution here in Tallahassee. Y'all might not have that in Miami or in a different county. Y'all do have it, but I'm just saying hypothetically here. We should be able to have the local authority to make that decision because your local government is the one that's closest to you. That's the one that you have the most proximity to. So if we're saying, dang, we want to control plastic pollution in our community, we should be able to do so. But preemption prevents us from doing this. The preemption goes so far in Florida that you cannot put taxes on inadequate appliances. You can't, we have certain housing preemption where cities or municipal governments are not allowed to require equitable housing developments, right? Without having to provide all the funding to do it. So you can't say, hey, if you want to build here in our community, then you have to build enough units so that people who can't afford it can live there as well. So it makes it hard to do mixed income housing. It just makes it incredibly difficult because the state has preempted you in a way where it doesn't look like it's cutting, but it's just raised the bar so high that now you have to raise taxes in order to do things instead of just demanding that they're done the correct way. So that's what I would challenge right away would be preemption in Florida, Max. Another great question, my friend. You got to come on here more. These are great questions. What's something y'all would I think this is a great question. I'd like to hear from the peanut gallery out there. If you could change one law in your state, what would it be? What would you change? One law in your state. You know, it's funny. When I teach my political science classes, this is a challenge because people don't know what is actually state law, what's actually happening at their local government. And you know, I always talk about the need for civic education, and I understand they don't necessarily teach local government in or state government even in schools anymore. So okay, they don't teach state law, or they only teach you the Constitution and maybe federal law if you go to a good school. So my sis Mel, she said she would get rid of stand your ground and add the duty to retreat. Let me think on that, Mel. I feel you on that ever since the Trayvon situation. And it makes me wonder while that is a challenge, how significant is it? If you only get to pick one, is that what you're going with? Okay, bring back abortion access. Yeah, definitely. That one affects remember, the majority of the people in the state are women, and that affects the majority of the people in the state. Uh, so yeah, people, not that they're going to ever get one, but they should have the right to, right? And then yeah, all right. Remove the union percentage requirement for membership. How they did the teachers unions. Oh man, yeah. Boy, being in these red southern states, y'all, it's so authoritarian. And it comes from the people who argue. Yeah. It comes from people who argue that we should have small, limited government. But actually, you know what? I take that back. If you notice, I don't hear the Republicans or the conservatives say that anymore. It was a time they used to say that they thought that the role of government should be limited and that they were kind of posing as libertarians. But those arguments have kind of faded away since the most recent elections in Project 2025. They are now advocating for full government overreach and just like, fuck the Constitution. We need to have control over your sex life. We need to have control over what you're reading. We need to have control over your body when you're in the hospital. Like they want full control. And it's like, yo, y'all did a complete 180 on this, but I think they only want, you know what I mean? They only want limited government when they're not in power. Then it's like, hey, don't come take our guns. Hey, don't tell us that our children have to get educated about other people's cultures and realities. Like they don't want the government doing that. Don't tell us we have to adhere to public safety requirements and wear a mask in public. Then the government is doing too much. But when the government is literally like walking into your bedroom and telling you who you can and cannot have sex with or be married to, or hey, you know what? You can't do what's best for your body. You can't get this medical procedure. Then it's okay, which is crazy to me. All right, so my conservative people, I want y'all to answer that, man. Do y'all want limited government or not? Which one is it? Y'all be kind of flipping on that. We haven't heard y'all make those arguments in a long time either. Not since back when Obama was in power is the last time I heard Republicans talking about small limited government. Since then, the goal of the Republicans has been to stick it to the libs. That seems to be your only thing. Is like if it makes liberals mad, no matter if it destroys the entire fucking country, y'all be like, well, at least we stuck it to the liberals and we made them upset. Hooray, we did it. God bless America. Of course, our economy's tanking and everything. It's like, but we made the libs mad. And it's like y'all really cut off your liberal nose to spite your conservative face. Or is it the other way around? Yeah, but yeah, you get the point there. Y'all gotta grow up also, man. Need grown up politics around here. I know, I meet occasionally. It's rare. I meet what I call politically mature conservatives, Republicans, right? And this is a rare breed because y'all don't have to agree with me. The majority of conservative Republicans I meet are Looney Tunes, who are like authoritarians. They want to control people and they want everyone to worship white Jesus and pray with them and stuff. And it's crazy. Like, but I meet people who are just like, this is my belief. But they don't necessarily feel the need to impose it on people, but they have their conservative beliefs and their conservative values. And while I do not agree with them, because I still think it's a selfish brand of planet destructive capitalism that they preach, I understand that they have, they're principled conservatives. But they're rare. Like I remember it was a guy who was running for office here in Tallahassee. He was running for a state attorney. And he was just like, he was telling me how much he hated Donald Trump because before Trump had came around, he would do pretty good with Republicans. But when Trump came out, him being a Republican, but also being like, responsible enough to say like, no, this guy is dangerous. I can't support him. It made it hard for him to win elections to the point where he said that his constituency was like, you might as well go be a Democrat now. And he's like, but he didn't align with Democratic values either. So he was kind of like outcasted from the Republican Party. And I think he was like, these people are exceptionally rare, right? But I think he was the guy, and me and my sister Serenity always talk about this. Those are the voters that the mainstream Democratic Party is always trying to look for. And it's like, we need to get, and I think it's like this many of those people in the planet, in the voter electorate, right? The rest of them are people are like on polar extremes, and it's like this many people. But I think sometimes strategists think that that group is like this, like that is massive. I don't know that that's the case because I don't, and this is speaking anecdotally, of course, I don't come across that many people. When I see survey results, it doesn't reflect that that many people exist who are in that swing thing. But it seems like sometimes the Democratic Party is playing to the idea that we're going to win those voters over. That may have been true in the 90s during the Clinton times, but I don't know. I think like post Obama, shit got polarized. People kind of got pushed to extremes on either side. And we went from Tea Party to MAGA, and I don't know that those people, even when they step out of the MAGA haze, I don't know that they come back over to our side. So that's going to be an interesting development. Oh, so something else that happened. So I'll talk to y'all about this. I gave a speech at one of the John Lewis rally, and it's on my TikTok page. And of course, y'all see it. My sis Serenity is filming me, and she's like filming like, I don't know, she was doing a new dance while she was filming me or something. It was crazy. But anyways, the speech, I talked to a mostly white audience, mostly white liberals, people who are pissed off at Trump. And I delivered a message, and, it was a couple people there who, they was feeling me. But a lot of people were kind of like standing in shock because I didn't go there to deliver kumbaya, we are the world message. I went there to tell people like, hey, like, Democrats, we keep fucking losing, especially here in Florida. And like, as a former football player and a fan of teams that haven't done so well, like at a certain point when you keep losing, you have to accept responsibility, or guess what happens? You keep losing, right? So that's something I learned in my sports experience, and that's something I learned, watching the Florida State Seminoles. I'm sorry. Okay, I had to throw you under the bus. I'm sorry. I had to get that. But what happens is, like, they're a perfect example. I'm sorry. Like, they lose, they have a horrible season. They're like, it was this coach's fault. And it was like, maybe the team just sucked this year. Like, and it is like, no, it was this coach's fault. It's like, maybe y'all have a fundamental flaw that is causing y'all to be on this losing streak, but you keep pointing outward, looking at other people, blaming other situations. And I feel that sometimes the Democratic Party is falling into that trap. It's like, if you talk to Black voters, if you talk to women, if you talk to people in Florida, when you talk to voters, they will tell you what the problems are. And then somehow there's a disconnect where the party leadership is not responsive to that. And it's weird because I know party leaders on a personal level, they seem to understand it, but it doesn't translate. And I think we need goddamn research, or we need to treat this with a sense of urgency ahead of these next elections. Like, we do know that progressive policy does bring in voters. So maybe we're not backing enough progressive policy. Maybe we've been softballing it too much, and that's causing people to be like, well, why go out and vote anyway if you are not going to do anything? It's not to say that's the right thing for people to do, but I understand the logic of, well, if all y'all are going to do is make excuses for why you can't do anything, the other side is going to win anyway. Why do I even need to be involved to waste my time in this? We know the real answer to that. But when people are stressed, people are making it day to day, it's going to be hard to command their attention if you're not promising something that's really going to result in real tangible change for them. So that's something I want all my political strategists to be thinking about going forward. How are you delivering tangible change to your constituency? Right. And then for the flip side of that, something that the people need to do, show people, tell people what you want, and find other people who agree with you on that. Put it on paper and deliver it to your elected officials. Don't just talk about it on social media. Don't just talk about it at the barbershop. Don't just talk about it with your friends and then never tell anybody about it, and then use that as your political decision making, that no one did this thing that I think or that we all think they should do. So therefore, we're not going to vote now when it's election time. We're going to protest, because that's not how it works. You have to go through the full process. You have to actually negotiate for what you want. And I do not see that contingent of disgruntled Dems actually at the negotiating table saying, this is what we want for our communities. This is what I'm speaking to Black men primarily, because I talk to a lot of brothers about this. Y'all have brilliant ideas, but y'all don't be involved in the process in many situations. And the people who are involved in the process, they're not echoing the same concerns that I hear y'all saying y'all have with the Democratic Party. So I think it's a great time for y'all to get more involved, because the party leadership claims that they're open to listening right now. They need y'all votes, and I think you have a position to make demands as long as they're reasonable and they don't oppress other people. So I think any demands that any community is making that's going to advance our society without causing the oppression of other groups, I think all that should be on the table and be open for consideration at this time. All right, I've been rambling for damn near an hour. Let me get to my closing so we could get out of here. The main problem, lukewarm moderates are not going to cut it. Yes, sir. Thank you. Get rid of the electoral college. Rodney from Florida. Hey, I support getting rid of the electoral college. I'll go further. And I don't know if everybody will agree with me on this. I don't think we need a House of Representatives, but I think those decisions should be given directly to the people. I want like super direct democracy. And I think we have the technology for it. But I'll come back to that in another day. That's like one of my political pipe dreams, as I call it. We're not ready for it just yet, but that's something I want down the line. It's just like direct democracy by the people, Senate representation, senators elected directly by the people to formulate the laws that the people come and give them. But I got to flesh that out a little more. I probably shouldn't have revealed that just yet because now people go like, and it's going to be in the newspaper, Strouble calls for abolishing the House of Representatives. I didn't say that. I was just saying that I don't think it's absolutely necessary. All right. But yeah, see, I get on this damn app and I start talking too much, man. I'm going to have to answer for that one in the future. I already know it. All right. So again, Dr. Bruce Strouble, Tallahassee, Florida, Florida A&M University, Citizens for a Sustainable Future. I'm an activist. I'm an educator. I'm a father. I'm an author. I'm a poet. I'm a husband. And I'm just a community person, man. So I urge y'all to check out my book, By Any Dreams Necessary, Anti-Racist Strategies for Sustainability, Resilience, and Environmental Justice in African-American Communities. Because I believe that if we focus on our most vulnerable, and African-American communities are among the most vulnerable, that we can lift up the entire nation. But we have to focus where it needs to be placed first. So please stay in the fight, y'all. I'll be back next week. I'm sorry I was gone for so long. I was out in these streets. It was active out here, but we fighting this good fight. But I'll be back next Monday. Until then, y'all have a great night. Y'all be safe. Y'all get prepared for this storm season because it's coming. Y'all take care of each other. Take care of your families. Take care of your neighbors. And, more love, less hate. Peace, everybody. I'm into this. Y'all asking crazy questions now.